Has Tally talked about the Wrath WoW token yet? Oh, you evil pieces of shit. Fine. Let's do the news. WoW token available on Wrath Classic. I did promise drama. The WoW token is now available on Wrath of the Lich King Classic Realms. To access it, log into a character and hit escape, then click shop. At the time of this post, $20 USD will net you 10,000 gold on NA Realm Fairlina. Seems like a lot. Seems like a lot of gold for Wrath, honestly. Before I give any opinion on this, would you like to read some comments? These are comments on Wowhead, so bear in mind that any particularly nasty ones will have been deleted. Nice. What a fuh? Anyone saw this coming? Disgusting. Where's my popcorn? This should be fun. Pog. Most people already buy gold in Wrath of the Lich King anyway. After so many good things for Classic and retail, they take this gigantic shit on Wrath of the Lich King. Why the fuck, Blizzard? Why? Finally, should have been added a long time ago. No! Laugh my ass off. Here we go, boys. Let the tears begin. Bought one and it's soulbound. Edit. Have to sell with official auction house UI. Can't use add-on UI to sell. Great. Now even more people will buy gold. Blizzard decided that instead of cracking down gold RMT, they wanted a slice of the pie, making the problem 10 times worse because now you don't risk suspension. Greed wins as usual. So much for classic design philosophy. What's next? Random dungeon finder? LFR? Be quite good actually. Buy a bunch of tokens and get carried in ICC, receiving Shadowmourne for swiping your credit card. The true classic experience. Ah, yeah, Blizzard ruining another fun thing. Great to see it. This will definitely help me afford my riding skills, and I don't know why people are complaining. It's not like you are forced to buy the token. It's always just been an option, just like its real counterpart. This will help players like me who don't know how to play the auction house actually afford expensive things. I, for one, think this is a good change. 1000% this is a mistake and happened by accident? No. Like a mistake, but happened by accident on Blizzard's parts? No. Everyone buys gold already. Save the fake outrage. Nothing like sabotaging your own game. It's like they never learn from their mistakes. Ah, yes, just like the good old days. This is in-game, but not Dungeon Finder. I'm going to give my opinion on it now. And bear in mind, I want this to be very, very clear. My opinion on this is not important. Okay? My opinion on this does not matter. My opinion carries zero weight at all. I don't play Classic. I have a vested interest in Classic being good and popular because I think a good, healthy Classic community is good for retail. It's not a zero-sum game. The more people are playing Classic and enjoying it, honestly, the better that is for retail. And I care a lot about retail. So I have a vested interest in people enjoying Classic. So I want Classic to be a game that people enjoy. And when there's something that might ruin people's enjoyment of Classic, I do care about it, but that doesn't make my opinion matter. The opinion of people that matters, honestly, is people that play Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And I only want you to write this now. If you've got a max level character in Wrath of the Lich King Classic and you play it regularly, is this good or bad in my chat? Good or bad? But please only answer if you if you play Wrath of the Lich King Matters. If you play Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Most people are pretty neutral about it. Or think it's good. Do a poll. I literally can't be bothered. And I don't know, man. That's the opinion that matters. It's people that play Wrath of the Lich King Classic. One thing I can comment on is what people think this will do to the game. So there's one thing I do know about Wrath of the Lich King, or Classic in general, is that people buy gold from third-party sellers. I know that Classic has a massive bot problem. I know Classic has a huge gold selling community. And I know it's a pretty standard fucking thing to buy gold from third-party gold sellers, just like it was in retail before the WoW token. And, you know, we can look at what the WoW token did to retail and assume it's going to do something similar in Classic. And what the WoW token did in retail, from an economy point of view, and also just from an existing point of view, was that A, it pretty much wiped out the third-party gold selling market. It pretty much wiped out a whole bunch of bots overnight. Are there still bots in retail? Yeah, of course there are, particularly for gathering and stuff like that. Is there a large-scale industrial bot problem in retail in the same way that there is in Classic? No, obviously not. It contributes to insane gold inflation. I disagree. The single greatest instance of gold inflation in WoW happened in Warlords of Draenor, and it happened because of the Garrison gold farm, which happened an entire expansion before the WoW token. You're going to tell me that the WoW token came out in WoD, and you're right, but it came out towards the end of WoD, and the economy had already been completely destroyed by WoD at that point. So, and inflation's never gone down from there. The WoW token did not cause that inflation, it came after. Can you still make a lot of gold in the Garrison? You couldn't pay me enough gold to do the Garrison farm, even if it did. People were making millions and millions of gold, to the extent that when the WoW token actually came out, I know tens of people, maybe even hundreds, that literally went out and bought the maximum amount of WoW tokens that they were able to using in-game gold and haven't paid for their subscription ever since. It ruins the game. Okay, so I'll get onto that comment in a second. So when people say it's going to ruin the economy is already shaped in Wrath of the Lich King by people who buy gold, as far as I understand it. People who play that game seriously buy gold as naturally as fucking drinking water. It's not an unusual thing to do. Everyone does it. Streamers don't do it very much because they just get given gold. Asmongold can sit there being all high and mighty because he just gets people sending him tens of thousands of gold in the mail. And fair enough. I would take it too. But most people who play the game seriously in Classic, apparently, and I'm only going by what Classic players tell me here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but buying gold is just something that people do from third-party sellers in Wrath Classic and in Classic in general. Sure, there are people that don't, but the economy is shaped by people that do already. So the idea that this is going to massively affect the WoW economy in Classic, I suspect might be exaggerated. It didn't really affect the economy in that way in retail, and I don't see why it would do that in Classic. What it does do is it gets rid of the third-party gold sellers. And, you know, you can be like, well, the third-party gold sellers can just undercut the WoW token and stuff. It's like, yeah, sure, but people will always take the path of least resistance. As long as a WoW token is a reasonable price, and you're getting a reasonable amount of gold for it, the ease of use for the WoW token and the safety of the WoW token will always trump using a third-party gold seller. Because WoW ain't going to hack your fucking account. You won't get banned if you found out doing it with a WoW token. Like, it will wipe out the third-party gold market to a large degree. It will wipe out, you know, a huge amount of bots as a result. So, you know, it won't change. I don't think it will change the economy in the way that a lot of people are saying. I don't think that is, and I might be wrong. Obviously, it will have an impact, but the fact is that the impact isn't. The economy is already shaped by gold buyers. It's a fact. Just is. And, you know, less bots is a good thing. Less third-party gold sellers is a good thing. You know, it does a good thing, the WoW token, in damaging that market. To the extent where, you know, I feel like it's difficult to remember as a retail player the difference that it makes. You know, because you get people now saying, oh, we still have bots in retail, oh, we still have gold sellers in retail, and we do, but it's night and day different to how it was before the WoW token. So that's a good thing that comes from the WoW token. One of the biggest criticisms I see of it is that, and this was a comment down here, and this is one that always makes me kind of, I'm just not sure about, honestly. It will make it 10 times worse. You will actually be griefing yourself if you don't buy gold in ICC if you're pugging anyways. Oh, that's not the one I was looking for. The idea that people can buy gold, which they then use to get carried in the content. So it's like, you know, now people are just buying gold to get carried in raids. And like, that is... I always kind of feel like, yeah, buy a bunch of tokens, get carried in ICC, receiving Shadow Morn for swiping your credit card, the true classic experience. I've never bought this as a criticism, honestly. I think the WoW token introduces an element of pay to win into WoW. It's the worst thing about the WoW token. There's loads of good stuff about the WoW token. I love that it wiped out bots and gold sellers. I love that it allows a whole bunch of people to play the game for free. I love that it means every item on the store is now available in game by grinding gold. I think that's fantastic. You know, there is nothing on that WoW store that you have to pay real money for. And that's great. That makes the WoW shop better than pretty much any other MMO WoW shop, by the way. Everything on that store you can buy with in-game gold. That makes that de facto makes it better than any other MMO store. And that's a good thing that the WoW token allows to happen. It allows people to play the game for free. I think that's fantastic. I think that's really, really good. The bad thing, and it's a big bad thing, and I swing depending on what day it is on whether I think it's worth it or not, is that I think it does introduce a really, really heavy pay-to-win element into the game. Because while there is max level gear on the auction house for gold, it allows you to pay real money for max level gear. Simple as that. And that's pay to win. And I don't like that. I think that's a bad thing. What I do not consider pay to win, what I don't consider pay to win is people using gold to pay other players for carries. I do not consider that pay to win, as in baked into the game. Because that is a community transaction. Like, if you buy a copy of Super Mario Kart secondhand, and the reason you bought that secondhand cart of Super Mario Kart was because it had all of the courses unlocked on the battery backup memory, so you didn't have to do it yourself. Is it pay to win? Yeah, kind of in a sense, but is it Nintendo that has made it pay to win? No. Is it Blizz that is making it pay to win if you use gold, however you got that gold, to pay for carries? No, it's a community transaction. Pay to win implies the game is competitive, though. No, that's semantics. That's a different interpretation of the words. Like, when I say pay to win, so Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War is pay to win. It's not even a multiplayer game. It's a single player game, but it's 100% pay to win. 100%. You don't have to have a multiplayer competitive element to a game for something to be pay to win. I don't think so, no. Not in my definition of it. I've always seen people buying boosts. I don't know. It's not something I would ever do because I have no interest in it, because I'm happy just not to do the content if I can't do it, right? In order for someone to win, doesn't there need to be someone who loses? No? What kind of fucked up American thinking is that? What do you mean? Of course not. There can be like rule sets where for someone to win, someone has to lose, but no. Like, you win Elden Ring if you beat the game, right? Like, you've won Elden Ring if you 100% it. You've won it. Well done. Congratulations. Did someone else have to lose for you to do that? No, obviously not. Everyone can win Elden Ring. I wanted to hear your opinion. Don't get angry. I'm not angry. If you think this is me angry, holy fuck, don't ever get me angry. You'll shit your pants. You know, or a co-op game. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I don't consider someone paying for boosts to be WoW is pay to win. You know, it could be described as a pay to win thing that the community has done, but it's not something the game does. Whether you can buy gold or not, honestly, like I think being able to buy max level gear from the auction house with gold that you've bought for money, that does meet my criteria of pay to win. But yeah, that's like people paying for boosts is just like it's a community transaction, and furthermore, obviously exists right now in Wrath. You know, the gold, the WoW token doesn't create that problem. You know, all of the problems that people are listing right now are not problems that I guess that's where I come down on the WoW token. I've said this before. There are bad things about it, and there are good things about it. But generally, the good things about it would not happen without the WoW token. But the bad things about it still happen without the WoW token. Does that make sense? So the WoW token solves a bunch of problems, but the problems that come from the WoW token don't disappear if you take away the WoW token. Does that make sense? Like, people still buy gold without the WoW token. Problem. Whether the WoW token is there or not. People still pay for carries without the WoW token. All of those problems still exist without the WoW token, but the good things that come from the WoW token don't exist without it. People can't play the game for free using gold without the WoW token. People can't buy items from the shop with in-game gold without the WoW token. You know? And so that's why overall, and like I say, I vary on this day to day, but overall, I think I'm in favor of the WoW token because the problems that come from it still exist without it, and the problems it solved are good problems to solve. There's other ways to solve those problems without the token. Really? How? Genuine question. How? How would you enable people to pay for their subscription with in-game gold without the WoW token? I'm not saying you're wrong, but and bear in mind that your solution has to not cause any new problems, right? Oh yeah, so ESO is pretty fucking horrific when it comes to pay to win, in my opinion. Like, I kind of stopped playing ESO when I realized I just spent $20 to level up my horse riding. I was like, fuck it, man. I'm gonna level up my fucking horse riding. And I fucking paid the money and I leveled it up. And then I was like, oh, I feel bad. I wish I hadn't done that. And that literally stopped me playing it. Is this the game is no longer pure argument? Yeah, and but then I don't think Classic players have ever cared about Classic being pure, because if they did, they wouldn't buy gold. I mean, here's the thing, right? The people that actually play Classic, like, I care about Classic being pure, but it's easy for me to, like, I always wanted Classic just to be a museum piece. You know? I want it to be a pure museum piece. Like, something I go and look at, and it's like it's like a fossil, a perfectly preserved fossil. I want that fossil to be as close to the thing that it's a fossil of as possible. You know, I want to see what that fucking thing looked like. And that's why I like Classic. I want to go back in time and I want to see that perfect snapshot. But it's easy for me to say that because I don't fucking play it. Me wanting that isn't fucking important because I don't fucking play the game. My opinion that I want it to be this, like, historical record is completely unimportant because I don't fucking play it. The people that do play the game don't give a fuck about the purity and have proven that from day one. And that's perfectly fine too, because they actually fucking play it. Their opinion is more important than mine. Like, their take and what they want is more important as people that actually play the fucking game than me, who fucking doesn't. Facts. But the fact is, Classic players who actually like Classic and who actually play it now have never given a fuck about purity. Not from day one. They might have said they did, but in practice they didn't. Like, before Classic even launched, the most staunch kind of keep it pure guys were talking about changing PvP, changing balancing, making paladins not absolute fucking trash in vanilla. Like, it's always been a thing. Like, every single person who actually gives a fuck about Classic has changes that they would make to Classic. They don't give a fuck about it being pure. And that's fine, by the way. That's absolutely acceptable. It's their game. It's not mine. So it is what it is, right? So instead of investigating and banning RMT company bots, Blizz just adds RMT themselves. I kind of feel like players have to take a tiny bit of responsibility in this, right? It's all very well some absolute cunt who's just spent $100 on fucking gold from a third-party gold seller doing this. Well, Blizz, you can't stop the gold sellers. So you just sell the gold. It's like, motherfucker, you just bought a ton of fucking gold. You don't get to sit there fucking tutting when you buy gold from third-party sellers. You don't like it, don't buy the fucking gold, bitch. Like, what the fuck? Like, all of these motherfuckers sitting there. Oh, well. You could have done more just to like, could have done more just to not fucking, just to ban them. And every time there is a ban wave, you bitches cry anyway. Like, come on, dudes. But, you know, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do about third-party gold sellers when they're incredibly popular. People buy the gold because it is a service they want at the end of the day. If people didn't want that in the game, they wouldn't be buying the gold. You're strawmanning, steelman your opponent. There exists a player who doesn't buy gold and doesn't complain about the ban waves. Yeah, okay, great, awesome. But that player also acknowledges that people buy gold, and presumably that is not enough to make them stop playing the game if they are indeed a player. Presumably, the fact that they know other players buy gold doesn't make them want to not play the game because they still play. So why would they be upset by the WoW token that will just make the gold a bit more expensive and will wipe out the bots that they see in their game every day? Again, it won't change anything about the fact that they don't buy gold. They're still in the exact same situation. What has changed for that player, my Steelman player that you have just created, which I thank you for doing? That Steelman player plays the game, gets their gold. They already live in an economy which is shaped by gold buyers. The fact they're still playing the game every day suggests that they are, at the very least, tolerant of that. It's not enough to make them stop playing the game. What changes with the WoW token for them? They still live in an economy which is shaped by gold buyers, except now there are less bots. Now there's less spam in chat. That's a net improvement on their game, isn't it? Is that not a net improvement on their game? Wouldn't you agree that the Steelman player that you created benefits more from this? Does this Steelman buy gold before the token? No, explicitly not. You're blaming the consumer. I asked you a direct question which you're not answering. If we're gonna have a discussion about this in my chat, Cynical Vanilla, then you have to answer my fucking question. I answered yours. Answer mine, and then we get to your other point. Our Steelman player may have already quit due to the bots ruining the economy. Okay, but then by definition, they are not playing the game and not buying gold, are they? So your Steelman is changing here. They are not. You're changing your Steelman so that your Steelman is no longer a current player. Your Steelman is now someone who quit the game, which is cool, but it is a different scenario to the one you first presented. But is that the scenario we're going with now? Are we making your player someone who has quit the game? Honestly, I think it makes it worse. I think bots keep prices lower for people who won't buy gold. Adding the token, removing the bots, would increase the price for the person who doesn't buy gold. Possibly. Okay, good point. Your argument is based on the assumption that most people buying gold, even without the WoW token, were they en masse? Sorry, are we saying that there isn't a massive gold buying thing going on in WoW Classic? Is that what we're saying? Because that's, again, I thought we all recognized that gold buying is rife in Classic. I thought that's just something we all accepted. If you're telling me that's not the case, then I stand corrected. But I think the general consensus is that there's a lot of fucking bots and there's a lot of fucking gold buying. If Blizzard was stricter with the ban hammer with bots, I saw 3 2-player bot farmers on Argent Dawn US yesterday, all landing and mining nodes in ZC. Would it be better if Blizz did more to tackle the bots? Yes. Would they ever be able to completely eradicate it? No. Would the demand for buying gold still be as high? Yes. Would that just make the prices of the gold that you're buying from third-party sellers higher and it being a more dangerous exchange all in all? Probably, I'd have thought. So here's the thing. I don't think that the WoW token, and this is a gut feeling, right? But disagree with it if you want. It's fine. You're not wrong if you disagree with me. My feeling is that the WoW token doesn't actually increase the amount of gold that gets bought. And my evidence for that is the first time I ever bought WoW in gold in WoW, was about a month and a half after I started playing WoW. And I didn't even have a debit card when I bought my first gold from a third-party gold selling site. I had no way to buy stuff on the internet. I had no credit card, no debit card. I paid for my game time by having a friend buy me game time cards in the US, which is where my account was registered, and sending them to me in the post. Or, you know, sometimes when time went on and the internet was better, sending me pictures of them. I was so averse to online transactions that's what happened. It took me a month and a half to buy fucking gold from a dodgy Chinese site. So what I'm saying is, buying gold, in my experience, wasn't the preserve of, you know, the difficulty of it did not put me off. And therefore, the ease of it did not make it more likely that I was going to buy gold. Does that make sense? It's like how since Roe versus Wade was kind of codified, although, you know, obviously it's been taken away again now, but the number of abortions in the US actually went down. Like, just because something is easier to do and more legal to do, it doesn't mean that people do more of it necessarily, because, you know, there are other things that actually contribute to that happening. Abortions went down because even though abortions were much, much easier to get and more legal to get everywhere, also education was going up. Also, median income was going up. And those are the things that actually reduce abortions, not how hard or difficult it is to get abortions. Abortions will always happen. The case is, how safe are they? The case is, will anyone go to jail for them? And that's kind of like that's kind of how I see the WoW token. Like, people are always going to buy gold. It's not a question of like whether they will or not because of the WoW token. It's just a question of how safe will it be. Pretty intense analogy, but I think it fits. It's the legalized sex work argument. There's always a market. It'll always happen, but we can make it safer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like how immigration went up since Brexit. Yeah, exactly. Marijuana dispensaries opening did not increase marijuana-related DUIs. Yeah, no, of course. Of course not. And all it results in is more money going into the game instead of like Chinese gold farms, which, let's not forget, are ethically absolutely fucked. Like, the people making gold in Chinese gold farms are incredibly exploited. Incredibly exploited. Ethically, gold farms are fucking terrible. If you buy gold from a third-party source, you are partaking in a very, very unethical process which literally harms human beings. We do that with most transactions in capitalism, and that's, you know, something we all live with, but it doesn't make it any less true. And also, yeah, it relies a lot on stolen accounts and stuff as well. It's bad for the player overall too. And that's something which is bypassed by the WoW token. So I know no one cares about that, but it's true and it's real. Gold farms are so fucked up that Steve Bannon wanted to set one up. Don't forget, guys. Fucking Steve Bannon. Steve fucking Bannon. Ethically wrong analogy. Buying gold equals bad. Abortions equals good. Ooh, I disagree with you, Green Cookie Gamer. Abortions don't equal good. No one wants an abortion. No one wants to be in a situation where they want to get an abortion. No one's like, I'm going to get as many abortions as possible because they are, in Green Cookie Gamer's words, good. They're not. Access to abortion is good. Allowing abortions is good. But, like, the actual act of having an abortion, it's not good. It's not fun. It's not nice. Okay? Like, in an ideal world, you would want there to be less abortions because they're not needed, not because they're not allowed. And allowing abortions means that there is less abortions. It's a net gain, right? It's brilliant. Months. But the ethics of your analogy don't work. Sure, okay, but I wasn't making that analogy as an ethical thing. I was making, like, you know, I brought ethics up separately afterwards, but the analogy wasn't meant in an ethical way. The analogy was meant in a kind of, you know, access to a thing, not increasing the demand for the thing. And actually, in abortion's case, something was, you know, you didn't have access to a thing, but it happened even more than when you did give access to the thing, because actually the thing that was causing the need for the thing wasn't connected to the access. Does that make sense? And that's what I'm saying. I'm not comparing them ethically, I use the analogy as an analogy for access, not for ethics. I've brought up ethics separately. You're talking about, you know, the ethics of Chinese gold farming, which is bad. But no, that's not the analogy I was making. I wasn't making an ethical analogy with abortion. I was making an access analogy. Does that make sense? I think most people understood that. So if ethically the analogy wasn't a good one, that is kind of irrelevant because that's not what it was for. But as a separate note, Chinese gold farms are ethically fucking terrible. And the ethics of gold buying is absolutely improved by having the WoW token, for sure. Okay, just my own anecdotal example here. I never considered buying gold until Blizz offered it. Fair, absolutely. Like, mine is anecdotal as well. Which is why, precisely why I appealed to a real life example of something, you know, access to something not increasing instances of it. Because, yeah, my experience of gold farming is, and my stats on it are purely anecdotal, right? I think ethics play a role here. Enabling abortions is not the same as enabling gold buying ethically. Yeah, but Green Cookie Gamer, I don't know how I can say it again. I wasn't making it as an ethical comparison. I wasn't comparing them to draw an ethical comparison. I'm just repeating myself now. I compared them because I was comparing access, not ethics. Everyone else understood that, right? Like, it is... Am I being an idiot? Am I explaining it wrong? I feel like everyone else understands what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, look, but at the end of the day, I can like make all these examples. I can say what I think, how I, you know, how it didn't really affect the economy in retail, how it did solve a lot of problems. That's not really important, honestly. What's important is what Classic players think. That's the only important thing. If they think it's bad, it's bad. If they think it's good, it's good. If they're split on it, well, it's split. So yeah, in my opinion, like I say, it solves a lot of problems. It doesn't really cause any that don't exist anyway, with the exception in retail of being able to buy max level gear from the auction house. That is a genuine pay to... That's my big caveat. And I guess it's the same in Wrath as well. That's a huge caveat of mine, and it's something that can only be solved by not having... Which they started kind of doing. They've got, like, you know, BOE equipment, max level equipment can't be put on the auction house for the first couple of weeks of raid tier now, which is an improvement for sure.